Hello YouTube, this is the Atlanta Puzzler in part 3 on how to make your own shape modifications, 3x3 shape mods. And in part 2 what we did, we basically enlarged the cube, we made a clone of it, we changed the color of the clone and hid it, and we created this inner cutting cube. And we were talking about why are we doing this and why are we cutting it and whatnot. And the idea is to vary the inner cube by certain degrees and then create a profile that we will then use to create the final cube. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to create three transform operations. Each operation will rotate the cutting cube along an axis. So go ahead and choose um, the transform. Actually, I want to cancel that and go ahead and delete this Boolean operation because it it deleted our cutting cube, so, and we don't need it. So go ahead and delete it. Now that we have our cube back, now we're ready to create the transform. So click on the transform, rotate, and for the axis, for the entities to copy, choose the cube, and for the axis, scroll all the way at the top. We have this sketch XZ. Choose this axis, which is the X. And for now, it says 30 degrees, okay? Just for now, do OK. And next, click on this variable icon to create a variable. Choose angle and call it X rotation. And let's keep it at 0 for now and do OK. Go ahead and drag this variable all the way to the top. And let's edit our transform 2 here, and I'm going to use pound X rotation. Okay. And press enter. And I think for clarity, I'm going to edit this guy. Says rotate cutting cube X. Okay. I'm going to do, let's do two more variables first. Again, angle Y rotation, choose angle, name it Y rotation, leave it at 0, and choose angle again and do Z rotation and leave it at 0. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to parameterize this design so that when I want to change the type of puzzle I want, I don't have to mess around with anything other than these three variables at the top of the design. Potentially we're going to have three more, but for now this is all you need to know. So now that we have the three variables, let's do the remaining two transforms. Click on this icon, transform icon, and choose this for entities to copy and do rotation. Choose the other axis. This is the Z axis, and instead of 30 I'll do pound Z rotation, and here I'm going to rename this to rotate cutting cube Z and do OK. Alright, now for the y-axis, since I don't have one, I'm going to create a sketch on the top plane, and I'm going to create a construction line here. And just make sure it's a construction line, do OK. I'm going to go ahead and move this sketch to the very top because I like to show and hide these often. I always put them at the top, and I'm going to rename it to sketch Y axis. Do OK. All right, so let's do the final rotation. Choose the cutting cube, and now we can do the Y and do pound Y rotation. And for this, we'll do rotate cutting cube Y and do OK. All right, now you'll notice nothing much changed in this design except for the fact that if I go to my variables now and I change this guy to, let's say, I don't know, let's say 45 for the X and do OK, which is what we'll do for the Fisher cube. This is how you design a Fisher cube. So you just rotate it by 45 degrees along one of the axes. And this is how it looks like. It's just a good old, cube, just rotated by 45 degrees. Rotated by 45 relative to the outer parts, the pink parts. So now the next thing we want to do is we're going to do a Boolean operation, sorry. And let me show the remaining the purple parts real quick. Okay, so the first 32 parts, I want to make sure they're visible for a moment. Okay, just click on the bool tools and do subtract, and then for the targets, do the targets first. Trust me, just choose part 32, scroll up and choose hold shift and click on corner, and now you have all 32 of them. And now choose the tool. It's easier to do it that way, because if you don't, it's gonna remove this cutting cube from the list, and it's gonna reorder the numbers, and it gets real confusing. Anyways, if you do it this way, what it did right now, it sort of removes it removes the core, or the mechanism portion of every one of these parts. So if I hide these three parts, you'll notice that we hollowed this large cube on a 45-degree angle. So in a sense, the purple parts are the mold that you're going to use to produce the final puzzle. I'm going to subtract everything purple from the copies that are black, and we'll end up with our puzzle. All right, so let's do that real quick. While this is all visible, you'll notice that now after we cut the cube, we should have 26 parts that are purple, because we lose 6 centers because they get fully cut out by the center cube. But anyways, let's do one more bool. So you'll have to do two more. You'll have to do a total of 2 Boolean operations. We did one. Now we'll do the other. And I want to say subtract the targets are part 27 to the end, 58. And for the tools are the first 26. So I'm gonna scroll up, choose 26, and hold shift and choose corner. I guess that didn't work. Okay, cancel this and do it again, and do subtract. It's a little tricky because as you select, it's performing the operation and deleting the parts that you select. So anyways, for the tools, go ahead and select the first 26 and click on targets and choose 27, and now see it reset this menu. So hold shift and choose all the remaining parts. I think that's easier to do, and then do OK. And what it's doing now, okay, you end up with nothing. That's because everything is hidden. Do show all parts, and this is what you have. It's a Fisher cube, and you'll notice it's a complete Fisher cube. The only problem I see is that we lost our fillets, which is not really a big problem. So depending on your preference, let's do 1 millimeter. Let's. I don't have to actually, yeah, you need to manually fillet all of them, and that'll make sense, perhaps in video too, because we're gonna use this design to generate other puzzles, right? So while this puzzle might have, you might be tempted to say, I'll just fillet the unique parts that I want. I don't need to click on every one of them. But as if I change this into, say, a ghost cube, um, every part will be unique. So I don't want to lose the fillets in those. So I'll just go ahead and fillet them all. And I hope what I said makes sense. Just trust me in this. So this is the fifth phase, and I think I have one more phase to do, which is this one. Okay, one more layer, and there we go. Do okay, and we should have a nice filleted Fisher cube. Okay, now let's go ahead and select a few parts here and right click and do hide other. I just want to point out a few things. The inner parts are exactly the same as the 3x3 we saw before. It's the same mechanism, the same, even the inside of the center caps. The differences are always above the 5 millimeter limit that we defined, or not 5 millimeter, 23.5 millimeters from the center. So this is how you build a Fisher cube. We just turned the cutting cube along one axis by 45 degrees, and then we cut it out of a larger cube, and then that gave you a template, and then a total of 2 Boolean operations. Okay, so let me do show all parts. Now it goes without saying, looking at this design, you can easily delete everything except for the unique parts, like keep one out of every unique piece, and that's what you need to 3D print. Okay, so let me go ahead and right click on this tab, and I'll rename it to Fisher cube, I think. So some people spell it this way, F-I-C-H, but I think Tony Fisher is this way, Fisher cube. Okay, and I'll go ahead and delete this because I don't need it. It's empty. Okay, this is great. Okay, so I'll go ahead and end this video here, and we'll talk about other parts. We'll be ready to rotate things and cut things and produce other types of puzzles. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, or concerns, whatever, and I'll address them, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye-bye.